Welcome back to my channel, Will of the Meeple, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial of Tinner's Trail by Martin Wallace. Tinner's Trail is based on 19th century Cornwall, where players must build mines to produce copper and tin, then try and sell the copper and tin when the price is at its highest. Players then spend their money to invest in victory points. The player with the most points at the end of the game wins. Let's set up the board. First of all, place the board in the middle of the table, in reach of all the players. Place the dice and auction marker next to the board, and now take the development board based on the number of players playing the game. I will do setup for a 3-player game, which is shown here. Now take ports, trains, adits, and miners based on the number of each on the card. Now, each player chooses a colour and takes their coloured components, which consists of a score marker, a money marker, the worker marker disc, 6 mines, 2 extra score tokens and 2 peak tokens. The score markers are placed on the 0 of the outer track, and the money markers are placed on the 20 space, as this is how much money each player starts with. Now, randomly place the worker markers on the 0 column of the work track. This determined which player goes first. Now we need to place the area tiles. These are placed based on the number of players, so for a 3-player game we look at the map card for 3 players and place tiles accordingly. As you can see, we don't use the D tiles for 3 players, just 6 A tiles, 6 B tiles and 5 C tiles. Place the tiles on the board to match their location on the setup map. Now, we need to turn over 1 tile for each area. Shuffle the setup cards marked 1 to 7. Now we will draw 1 for each area. A, as we can see, only has 6 area tiles in it, so we need to draw a number between 1 and 6. Now we do the same for B and the same for C. If we draw a number higher than the number of tiles we have out, simply draw another. If you are playing a 2 or 3 player game, reveal 1 tile per region, but if it's a 1, 4 or 5 player game, reveal 2 tiles per region. Now take the survey deck and separate it into 5 piles: A, B, C, D and wildcard. As we are doing setup for a 3-player game, we don't need the D pile, so we'll put that to one side. And if you were playing a 2-player game, you would also remove the wildcard deck. Give the other 4 decks a shuffle separately, then each player draws 2 cards from each pile, but then discards 1 of each type. Now, return all unused and discarded survey cards back to the box. Also note that if you are playing a 2-player game, keep the survey cards out, as these are used throughout the game. Finally, place the tin cubes, the copper cubes, the water cubes, and the drainage tokens next to the board. The game consists of 4 rounds, and each round consists of 4 steps. The first step is to set the ore price. Roll the 3 dice and set the tin price based on the total of the dice. Here we rolled a 5, so grab a tin cube and place it on the 5. As you can see, this is 5 to 6. Now we do the same for copper. Roll 3 dice and place a copper token on the relevant price, 5 again. Now in subsequent rounds, the current price affects the future price. If the current price for tin is £4, we see a +1 at the bottom. This means next time we are setting the price for tin, we add 1 to the total dice roll. If tin is currently worth £7, then we would deduct 1 from the dice roll. We also do the same when pricing copper. The next step is the action phase. The active player is always the player who has spent the least work points, so their token will be on the furthest left. If they are both in the same column, then it is the player nearest the top. On your turn, there are 8 possible actions, as we can see here. The first action, which will cost 2 work points, is to build a mine. Now when building a mine, it goes to auction and only the winning bidder pays the 2 work points. Start by placing the auction marker on the area tile that you wish to mine. If the tile is face up, like this one, we can see the mine will produce 1 tin, 1 copper and 4 water, but for the tiles that are face down, players do not know what mining on that tile will produce. A player can only take part in an auction if they have at least 2 work points available, in other words their work token is 2 away from the end of the track, they have at least 1 mine token left, and they have enough money to pay for their bid. As the active player, you may play one of your survey cards before making your initial bid, but only if the area tile is face down, the survey card matches the area tile of the tile you are bidding on, or be a wild card, and at least one other player is able to participate in the bid. If you do play a card before the bid, you do not pay the cost. The survey card either adds extra resources to an area or removes water from it. The advantage of playing the card before bidding is that the player that plays the card can take a look at the area tile to see what it will produce. Also, if the active player loses the auction, playing the survey card beforehand allows them to reclaim half the winning bid, rounded up. As the active player, you must make the first bid, which must be at least £1 plus an additional £1 for each player that has taken a pass action this round, but maybe more. If a player has taken a pass action, their counter will be on this track here. Bidding then moves around the table clockwise, each player bidding more or dropping out. Once a player drops out of an auction, they cannot rejoin. Once bidding is over, the winning bidder must pay their bid price by moving their money token down the track by the amount they bid, and also move their work token 2 spaces along the work track. At this point, if no survey card was played before the auction, you may play one, however you must pay the price indicated on the card. Again, the card must match the area of the tile or be a wild card. Now, remove the area tile from the board and replace it with the resources shown on the back of the tile, adding or removing any extras shown on the survey card that was played. Also, for each drainage token present, add 1 less water. We will cover the placement of drainage tokens a bit later. The winning bidder must also place one of their mines in the area. Once placed, this cannot be moved and must stay here for the remainder of the game. If any miners, ports or steam pumps were added by the survey card, they are taken from the supply and not from the development board. Remember, these are the rules for a 3-player game. If you are playing a 2-player game, the rules are slightly different and you should go over these in the instruction book. You can now remove the bidding marker. Remember, if any drainage tokens were present, remove 1 water cube from the mine. The next available action is to extract ore. This action will cost 1 work point and allows you to take tin or copper from one of your mines you own, up to the extraction limit of that mine. The base extraction limit is 2 for all mines, however we add 1 for each miner, port or train on this area. Each cube you extract costs money equal to the amount of water cubes currently on that area. If there are no water cubes, extraction is free. The next action along is to sell pasties. Yes, we can't have a game based in Cornwall without having pasties, can we? Take this action and move your money marker along the track by £1. The action after this is to pass. Once you have passed, you may not take any further actions this round, and you cannot get involved in any bidding. Take your work token and place it in the highest available space on the investment panel. If your work token is in the rightmost column of the work track, you must pass. Once all players have passed, we move to phase 3. Across the bottom, we have development actions. These involve taking one of the available tokens off the development board in the column of the current round, so can only be performed if there are tokens available. Development tokens can be placed in any area on the board, even ones that haven't been mined yet. However, each area can have a maximum of 1 miner, 1 port and 1 train. Each border between 2 areas can have a maximum of 1 adit. Once a development has been placed, it cannot be moved. Let's go over the different types of developments. The first development is a miner. Miners increase the area's extraction value by 1. Simply place the miner on any area. This costs 1 work point, so move your work token along the track 1 place. The next development is a port. You can place a port on any area that is adjacent to water. Remove 1 water cube, or if it hasn't been mined yet, add a drainage token. The port raises the extraction level of the area by 1. This action costs 2 work points. Next, we have trains. When we add a train, we can remove 2 water tokens from the area or add 2 drainage tokens if no mine is present, and we also remove 1 water token from each adjacent area or add 1 drainage token if it hasn't been mined. The train also increases the area's extraction value by 1 point, but this is only the extraction value of the area it was placed on, not the adjacent ones. This action also costs 2 work points. Next we have adits. Adits were tunnels used by miners to help drain the water from the mines. You can place an adit between 2 areas. Once placed, you remove a water cube from each area. If the area hasn't been mined, add a drainage token instead. Then, add 1 tin and 1 copper cube to each area. This action costs 3 work points. The final development available is a steam pump. These work slightly differently to the other developments in a few ways. First of all, when you take the action, you take the stack furthest to the right but no higher than the current round number. At the end of each round, all steam pumps are refilled based on the numbers shown on the card. And steam pumps aren't placed on an area, they are actually returned to the supply, but instead remove 1 water cube from any area for each steam pump you used. Water cubes can be removed from any area, and you do not have to remove the full amount. You may use 3 steam pumps but just remove 1 or 2 water cubes if you wish to do so. Once all players have run out of work points and everyone has passed, we move on to phase 3, sell and invest. Players must sell all the tin and copper they have this round for the current price that was determined at the start of the round when we rolled the dice. So if we sold 3 copper at a price of 5, we would then make £15. Move your money mark around the board to the relevant number based on your current money balance. Once everyone has sold their ore, one at a time starting with the first player at the top of the track on the left of the investment area, players can buy points. Each player can buy points based on their position, so in round 1, player 1 can spend £10 for 22 points or £5 for 10 points. Player 2 may now spend £10 for 21 points or £5 for 10 points. If a player chooses to pass, they can no longer buy points this round. However, once everyone has played and play returns to player 1, if they haven't passed yet, they may choose to buy even more points. As the rounds go on, you get less points for your money, and at the end of round 4, the final round, players should spend all their money on points, as this is what wins the game. The key is to spend some money on points, but make sure you have enough money left to take into the next round, as you need money to buy development cards and extract ore. Phase 4 is the end of round phase. This phase does not need to be completed at the end of round 4. All development resources for this round that were not used are now returned to the box, and the steam pumps are refilled. Players' discs are removed from the investment area and moved back to the work track, keeping the current order, so that the first person to pass or complete their work in this round will go first in the next round. The 2 players in the top 2 spaces of the work track get to peek at 1 area tile each. If you do look at an area tile, you should place a peek token on it. This shows you have seen it and allows you to look at it at any point throughout the game. When the tile is revealed, take the peek token back. And that's it. Once you've completed all 4 rounds, the game is over, and the player with the most points wins the game. In the case of a tie, the player with the most money left wins. If this is also a tie, then the player who is highest up on the work track order wins. So my final thoughts for the game. It definitely seems like an enjoyable game. Obviously there's plenty of games out there with similar mechanics, but I think the way this one plays through is really nice. I like the gamble of choosing an area that mines good resources, and I think the survey cards that allow you to add resources is a great idea. And it's not too complicated. You don't have too many rules to remember, which is always good, especially when you're learning a new game. I had a 5-player game of this at Games Night last night, and we did only manage the first 2 rounds, which did take a couple of hours, but that's usual when playing a new game for the first time, especially with the maximum players. But the game was well received and everyone seemed to pick it up quickly enough. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.